Good evening, my sisters and my brothers. This is your boy, C.R. Cox, here for a Monday Mandate, the Tuesday edition. I'm sorry I was not available to do the Monday Mandate on Monday. However, we're here tonight, and I do thank you all for joining us here tonight for a very serious topic. This is not going to be in the traditional Monday Mandate, but this is something that's very close and near and dear to my heart when it comes to dealing with this season that we're in. Many of you all may not know, but this is one of the seasons. The holiday season is the highest rate of suicide. There's the highest rate that people deal with depression due to the holiday season. And tonight, we want to highlight some of these things because many of us are dealing with depression, and we don't know where to go for help. And there are things that we hide because we don't want to be judged by people, and we don't want to be ostracized because people do not understand what we're going through. So with that being said, I just want to let you all know this. For you all that are dealing with depression, depression cannot be dealt with alone. You have to be able to seek help, seek the guidance necessary in order for you to seek to get the help that you need. I'm going to give you all my personal testimony tonight. That's why this is near and dear to my heart, because depression is real. Depression is not something to be laughed at. It's not something to take lightly. As a matter of fact, many people are taking their lives because of depression. They're taking their own lives because of depression. And a lot of people don't know how to deal with it. So what they do is they drink themselves to death, or they use drugs, or whatever means that they need to cope with dealing with depression. And depression in many cases leads to death. If we don't get treated for it, it leads to death. And like I said, tonight, I'm going to give you all my personal testimony concerning depression, because many of us don't know what depression looks like. Depression, although very, very real, depression, many people mask. I was one of those people that masked my depression. But what is depression? Depression simply is a mood disorder. It's a mood disorder that can interfere with your everyday life. It is something that can alter how you think. It can alter your behavior. It can alter how you deal with people. It can alter your just going to work every day. Some people is what I call functional depressors. Those people are dealing with depression, and they're very, very functional. But what's happening right now is that most of the depression is being masked by laughter, is being masked by joking. Many of us think that a lot of people that are depressed, that they're walking around with their head down, they're walking around with the woe is me attitude, but that's not true. A lot of people that are dealing with depression, they're smiling every day. A lot of people that's dealing with depression, they're laughing, they're smiling, they're joking. They go to events. These people are around people every day. But these people really don't talk about the inner workings of their heart. They don't really talk about what's really gut-wrenching in their soul and what's tearing their spirit apart. They don't talk about those things simply because they don't want to be the person that causes a burden to another person, nor do they want to be ostracized or judged for what they said. Okay. And many of us, we don't talk about it because we don't want to feel vulnerable. But I'm here to tell you all, you cannot deal with depression alone. You can't deal with it by yourself. You need some help. And above, if you all are looking at those numbers, above is the numbers that I put for the National Depression Hotline and also the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. Because again, the depression is real. And I'm going to give you all my testimony about depression now, as we talk about some of the symptoms and some of the things, how to identify depression. All right. For many, many years, I was depressed. For a lot of people that know me, they couldn't tell I was depressed because I was always laughing. I was always joking. I was always the fun of the party, the life of the party, or whatever you want to call it. But for many, many years, my depression was linked to pre-alcoholism. I didn't get into, was not a fully function, or should I say, I was not a full-fledged alcoholic, but I drowned a lot of my sorrows in alcohol. I drowned a lot of my sorrows in sex and alcohol, because I was trying to deal with something that I could not understand. And I was depressed for many, many years. I was depressed before I went to war, but I was really, really, really depressed after combat. And that's when it really took its toll. I was secluded from people. Although I would go to work, I would go to work in fear. I would go to work not understanding, not knowing who loved me, did not understand that people even cared about me. I thought I was in a world all by myself. I thought I had to deal with this by myself, and not understanding that there was some of the symptoms that I was dealing with. I was dealing with feeling sad. I was feeling sad all the time. Although I was laughing, I was feeling sad. I was angry. I was very irritable. Very irritable. I was frustrated on the smallest things will make me frustrated. I had loss of interest in daily activity, the things that I would enjoy doing. I had those loss of interest. Did not want to do certain things. Did not want to get up in the morning. A lot of people don't realize that it was a struggle for me to get up out of the bed in the morning. A struggle. Sometimes it took me 2-3 hours to pull myself together and to pull myself out of the bed, where people were like, what's wrong with him? Why is he not his chipper self? I struggled to get out of the bed, which meant it also made, I was also struggling to go to sleep at night. I had insomnia that I was dealing with very, very well. And I'm still dealing with some of those residues of that, of depression. But I'm here to tell you all tonight that do not take lightly someone's depression, because someone's depression can lead them to do something to themselves that will end their course of life. We're seeing pastors and preachers. We're seeing so many different people of high and low echelon that are committing suicide. And where we will say it's senseless, a lot of people will say, well, suicide is so selfish. Why would they do that? But you have to understand that before they got to that place, that they were dealing with a dark doom. They were dealing with a dungeon of despair. They were at the bottom and they could not understand how to deal with it. And some people believe that ending their life is the best thing. And I also myself had suicidal ideations. I never acted on it, but I had suicidal thoughts. I had suicidal notions. I believed that I was nobody to anyone. I believed that for a long time I was worthless. I believed that I was hopeless. I believed that I did not matter to anyone. And then on top of it, I had people in my circle that was treating me the same way. So you have to understand that people that seem to be strong are also dealing with some of these these depression issues. Some people have angry outbursts. Some people are restless at night or in the daytime. Some people have slow thinking. Their movements are slow and they're easily distracted. They have fatigue, and some people have loss of appetite. I mean, so many different symptoms dealing with depression. And a lot of us don't want to come out and say that we are depressed because we don't want to deal with any more issue, right? So it's something to say you're depressed and then someone makes fun of you being depressed, or you're saying that you're dealing with depression and people look at you funny, like don't touch him, like you got leprosy, you got AIDS, or you have some form of the disorder or disease. They don't want to deal with you now, you know. But I'm here to tell you all, do not end your life because you're dealing with depression. I'm a living witness that you can make it past depression. You can make it past depression. All right. I know people see me and they say, how in the world you don't look depressed. You don't look depressed, but I still deal with depression. I still deal with it. And many people they pull on me and they want me to go here and they want me to do this and they want me to do that, and not understanding that I'm not trying to be rude to anybody, nor am I trying to be in a place where I don't want to be around people, but that sometimes I need to be by myself in order to deal with what's internally tearing me apart. And a lot of times we just need space. But for us that understand what our triggers are, we also have to know that there is help. Okay. I'm here to tell you all that depression, for those that are dealing with depression, you need the help of the village around you. You need the help of those people around you. Okay. You have to be able to have a shoulder to cry on. You have to be able to have an outlet to talk about these different things, and that's why I always open myself up I open myself up and I tell people, if you just want to talk, I'm here, because you'll find out that the average person that's in your circle is dealing with some kind of depression disorder. Okay. But what other help is there other than calling the national hotline? If you don't want to call a stranger and you don't want to talk to a family member, what are some of the things that you can do? What are some of the self things that you can do to deal with depression? Exercise is a very good one. Exercise releases a lot of tension, a lot of stress. All right. Getting adequate sleep, trying to sleep at an earlier pace and trying to get to that pattern of sleep every night so that your body can fully rest instead of staying up half the night, then trying to rest. Those things actually help. Having an adequate diet, a very helpful diet, changing your diet. Those things also help with depression. Changing your routine. What is it that you would like to do that you have not done, that you've put off? Change your routine. Don't do the same things over and over, because you become stagnant and you become you get bored. And one thing about depression feeds off boredom. So if you're depressed and you're bored at the same time, then there's always room for you to think negatively. And you have to challenge those negative thoughts. Those negative thoughts, those negative energies, those negative ideations, you have to challenge those things. I believed at one point in time, like I said, that I was nobody. I believed that I had no purpose. I was nobody to anyone. And I had to challenge that way of thinking. I had to challenge that. How did I do that? I started asking myself questions. Do I know that there are people that love me? And the one thing I leaned on was my mother. I know my mom loves me. If nobody in the world loves me at all, I know my mom loves me. And that was enough for me to pull myself out of the neck of depression, because I now understood and I believe what I always believed, that my mom has always been there for me. So there has to be something that you're able to challenge those negative ideations with positivity. You got to change your thought process. You have to change your routine, which will ultimately change the behavior that you have. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. I'm not saying that these things are very, very easy, because they're not. As a matter of fact, some of this is harder than others. Some people, it's harder for them to deal with depression. It's harder. A lot of us, that are preachers and that are leaders, we mask a lot of things. We mask it. We mask depression. We mask what we're going through because we have so many people that look up to us. But there comes a time where even you, as a leader, need help. There comes a time where you, as a person of interest, you need help, and there's no better way to get help than for you to have the acknowledgement that there's something that you're dealing with. And many of us, we're losing sleep. We're not sleeping well, which is causing our organs to operate or to not operate properly, shall I say. And everything that we do on the outside actually has everything to do with the inside of our body. So we're stressing our body out, our organs out, and our lifespan is shorter than what it's supposed to be, because we're not allowing ourselves to get the adequate help that we need. So again, please talk to somebody. If you're depressed about any issue, it doesn't matter. Get with someone that's trustworthy, that you can talk to, someone that you believe is not going to talk about your secrets and things of the nature. Start just letting it out. And if you don't want to talk to anybody, if you want to talk to a stranger, just do this. Write it down. I find that journaling a lot of my ideas has also helped me to release some of those negative ideations as well. A lot of times I write, I type in my computer, I put things on paper, I read it back to myself, and I ask myself, why am I thinking this way? All right. But I also am a person that I'm not above counseling. I went to counseling. for it. I went to counseling for a number of years dealing with depression. Most of it was dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, with the PTSD from war. Most of it was dealing with some of the ideations that I had from combat. But what my my counselor actually did was she took that dealing with the war syndrome, and she went all the way back before I even entered the military. And so what she did was she encompassed everything that was an issue for me dealing with depression. So I'm here to tell you all, listen, get the help that you all need. You're not going to be any good to anybody else if you don't get the help that you need. And we need people that's going to be around here for some time, because there's a lot of people that are there's a lot of people in the purpose that you have that you're going to be able to not only motivate, but also help get delivered because of your testimony. All right. So again, please listen, you all need some help. There's the hotline is posted above, the National Depression Hotline, and also the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. All right. If you know someone who is dealing with depression, be there for them. One thing about people that dealing with depression, they need support. They need support. They need it. Life is depressing by itself. Life is depressing by itself. And to have things that are added on top of life that you have to deal with is also more of depression, of depressing. So if you know someone is dealing with depression, don't just like, they'll get over it, they'll be okay, because many of them may not come out of it. They may not come out of it. Okay. And again, many people are taking their lives because of it. So please take the time to support someone that's dealing with depression. If you know someone who's having suicidal ideations, listen, do not let them deal with that alone. As a matter of fact, if you are a true friend and you know that they are dealing with suicide ideations and you're not doing anything for them, you're not a true friend. Okay. You're not a true friend. Just be honest with you. You're not. The person can end their life today, and we're just ignoring that. So get them the help that they need. Even if you have to call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline for them and be that interceptor for them, do that, because they may thank you later. You know, you never know what your life will be like if you end it all. If you end it all today, you will not know that. So I'm here to encourage you all. Please get the help that you all need. And if you're not dealing with depression, be that person that can help support somebody. This season is one of those seasons that a lot of people dread. I'm one of them. I'm one of them. You know, a lot of people don't like to don't like to talk about themselves. I'll talk about me. This is not a season that I'm happy about. You know, still to this day, I'm still trying to figure out why that is. I'm still trying to figure out why that is. But I have come to a place of maturity where I understand that this is a place where I'm at that I don't like. Okay, this is the place where I'm uncomfortable in. I can't wait for this season to end, you know. But because of me understanding that, I know exactly what my triggers are and things of that nature, you know. So I love you guys. I told this wasn't going to be the regular Monday mandate, but I had to put this out there. It was on my mind heavy, especially in this season, with people dealing with all these different things, and dealing with depression. Depression can come from many ways. It could be a family disorder, for family history. It can just be it could be an illness, a health issue. It could just be someone's personality, medication, drugs, whatever the case may be. But people are dealing with depression in a real way. All right. So again, I love you all. And my hope is, and my prayer is that everyone succeeds, is that everyone finds their purpose, that everyone is able to find their purpose in God and do what God has called them to do, because someone somewhere is waiting on your testimony. I love you guys. God bless you. I'll see you all soon.